So nice Hatha Yoga practice this morning. Now, traditionally, Hatha Yoga does start with, like I like to say, like grounding or centering, maybe a little breath work. So I like to suggest, if we can, this Vajrasana, so sitting on the heels. We actually started like this last week as well, but it's a nice way to start some stretching, but also we're not going to round the back as much. You're always welcome to sit on a block here or cross-legged if you need, okay? So the yogis talk about positioning the hands in a certain way intentionally. Palms can be face down, it's more grounding. Palms can be face up. The yogis like to say, if you're looking for answers to receive something, this is more like an open position to receive. Shoulders kind of roll back and down a couple times, maybe shake out. I lift the crown up, I root my sit bones down, and I close the eyes. You could touch your index finger to your thumb, the Gyan or the Chin Mudra. Start to feel the sensations of the body, of the breath. You're tuning in. Starting to increase the size of the inhale and the depth of the exhale. With each breath, a little bit deeper inhale, a little bit deeper exhale, and a little bit smoother, slower breathing. So we're not just trying to breathe deeper, yogis. We're not trying to breathe more breaths. Really, actually, it's like less breaths. So say we're here for an hour. We're trying to actually decrease the amount of breaths. So say you could inhale for 10 seconds, exhale for 10 seconds. That's going to be about 3 breaths per minute, and that's going to be less breaths in the class. So more quality, slow breathing. In and out the nose if you can. We can do some exhales out the mouth. You can also add some breath retention, so holding the breath at the top of the inhale and or at the bottom of the exhale. So I'm just making some suggestions here for your breathing practice. Some mornings I really feel it's very easy for me to do some slow, deep breathing with some breath holds, and some mornings it isn't. When you do make a regular practice out of this, you're going to notice that breathing is very muscular, depending on how you slept, maybe your stress levels, a lot of factors that can affect this, your body. Some mornings I can inhale for 10, 15, even 20 seconds and hold for 10, 15, 20 seconds. I can break it down to about 1 breath per minute. Some mornings I cannot do that. So you don't judge it, you just do your best. Okay, let's take the last 30, 45 seconds here on a personal level with our breath. As the yogis like to say, that if you have a mantra practice, a prayer, these are all the higher realms of yoga they say is more powerful than exercise. The yogis say, right? That tuning into these subtle body vibration and energy, chemical shift in the mind and body. As the yogis say, that prayer is one of the most powerful things that you have at your constant disposal, that you can do anywhere. You don't need a yoga mat to shift your vibration. It doesn't have to be to anything in particular. You can pray to yourself, pray to nature, pray to your dog. Just saying like thank you, the gratitude, vibration and energy form is what that kind of represents. Humility, gratitude. And the yogis also talk about blessing things around you, whether it's your food, your friends, or people in need. A blessing. All right, type of prayer. All right, yogis, let's get going here. Let's get off of those heels. Nice job at the Vajrasana. You're welcome to add some cat-cows. I do that a lot of days. I don't do it every day, but if I'm feeling tight, slow to get moving here, I would do my cat-cows. I'm going to go straight through to downward dog this morning, lifting those hips up and back. And I like to suggest you could even cat-cow here. So notice I do inhale, arch, and exhale, round. A little bit of movement forward and back. I really like to do down dog in cat-cow in down dog. It's a very different but similar thing you're always doing. It's kind of a bigger stretch for me. You get a little bit more hamstrings in that cow hips. I want to remind you, a lot of people want to make their hamstrings more flexible, but a lot of people will try to stretch their hamstrings, but they're not doing it. I don't like to say wrong, but if you're trying to stretch your hamstrings like this, there is no hamstring stretch because I'm in posterior tilt. I have to get anterior tilt going to really stretch my hamstrings, to pull my tailbone, my sit bones away from my knees, to lengthen the back of the upper leg. Down dog is a fantastic place to start doing that. And I mention it because cat-cow. The cat is the posterior tilt. You got to work into that cow where the anterior tilt's happening and the extension of the spine. That's how you're going to get into those hamstrings a lot more. So let's take the last few breaths in down dog, kind of moving around at ways that feel good. Again, reminder, some days you do a disciplined down dog approach, subtle refinements, pressing the inner hands and feet down, lengthening the arms and legs a little bit more, sit bones up and back, stillness, breath work, no fidgeting. And some days you got to move extra. It depends on your intention. If you tend to be kind of a fidgety approach, you should try to start disciplining that. You got to choose mornings where you're going to really go for that. And then some mornings you got to move extra, wake your body up. You're feeling a little stuck, tired, a little extra movement possible. Okay. So let's bring it down to the knees when you're ready. It looks like some of you are dropping down. So I'll take that as a cue to move forward. Let's get some classic going on here. Tabletop, press your feet, grip your hands, right leg rises, flex the foot, please. Pull the belly in. Notice as I lift the leg and when it takes my pelvis and tilt, don't let the back arch pull the belly in. Drop the right hip, right hand strong, left arm forward, like I'm gonna shake somebody's hand here, okay? Don't let that back arch, okay? Big inhale, straighten, lift, and lengthen. You guys know we haven't done it in quite a few weeks here, rounding and squeezing. Inhale, we're gonna lift that leg back and up. Exhale, we're gonna round and squeeze. So I didn't teach cat-cow because you kind of get it done here, right? So now, if it's too much, you could do it on one with just the leg. If it's easy, you could try to do it with your eyes closed or even like a plank pose. It's really a fantastic exercise, yoga. You can't go wrong with this one. It can be challenging for a very seasoned, fit person. And it's also super therapeutic for someone coming off back pain. As long as you're not dumping into the arch of the back. Like I said, that's where this would get risky for someone with stenosis or like a bulge and herniation in a disc. And that's where we want to show extra caution. As I lift that leg, backing up, the back might want to arch, okay? You get to about, like I say, 6 is a good start, but the standard is more like 12 or 15. We'll come back down to tabletop, all right? If you're just joining, we did down dog, some breathing. Left leg rises, right arm forward. We're picking up the speed now. Pinky toe down, ribs pull in, knee straightens, big inhale, big exhale, left knee, right knee, left elbow. Left knee, right elbow. Go ahead. So on my back, on my hand, I'm doing this one there. Now slow down. If you're good at it, try to discipline the unintentional movements of the body. You kind of fall to the right. You shift a little forward and back. You're shifting weight into the knee. Can you equally distribute the weight between the knee and the hand? Can you start to notice if your chest dips too low, lift it up? And that's going to be different from everyone. We all have different kind of weaknesses through the muscular chains. And that's always going to change as time goes. So you do this every day for 10 years, how you have to activate and relax will change or evolve. That's one thing that it'll do, guys. You will change from the practice for sure. And the practice will change along the journey. So your cues, how you're going to have to be aware of what's happening will change. And that's what keeps yoga interesting. You can really do the same stuff all the time, but the practice will change. All right, guys, now you're kind of on your own. Some of you look done already.
No worries. Let's come down to our forearms, give the wrist a little break. I want to work in a nice plank pose here. If you want to do high plank or push-ups, that can all fall into this realm. I'm just working, we just did a movement, so a little bit more still. Let's do it. Good forearm plank. Work on squeezing your butt and your thighs. Notice my back is a little rounded. You know, you could go neutral if you want, but setting an intention with an action of the body. So I'll go protraction, my back, upper back lifts up from my elbows. And I'll go spinal flexion, so slightly rounded. Do I always do that? No. But setting an intention clearly in the body is a good plan often, okay? So squeezing my butt's gonna be a little bit more posterior tilt. Spreading the back, and what works with that is a little bit more of that spinal flexion. So a little bit of rounding of the spine is okay if it's intentional. If you're feeling good, you could hover a foot. If it's all too much, you could drop to the knees and do our beginner plank. So forearm and knees down is beginner plank. Even though I could hover a foot, some mornings I wouldn't. Some mornings I would go straight into foot and arm hovering, so balancing plank. I talk about that. If your right foot's hovering and you reach your left arm forward, it's a really incredible full body. There's phasic, there's tonic, there's big muscle groups, and then there's like stabilizers. So you bring more kind of balance into the form. So last 3 breaths here, about 20 seconds. Trying to go for a good minute and a half at least here, yogis. We want to get really now into the strength of the body. And what's nice about plank is you can do it cold. It's static, it's full body, it's closed chain. You can be literally freezing and do this safely, okay? All right, guys, so I'm gonna bring you into a movement here. All right, now go slow. It's a little bit confusing. It's our first big transverse movement. So you're gonna notice I'm gonna lay on my chest, I'm gonna reach my arms forward. Now you gotta kind of watch me if you're new. It can be confusing, I said. Watch how my left knee goes left. My right arm goes forward. My left arm is gonna reach up and over, around. My chest twists to the sky. Watch. Left leg back, both arms forward. Right knee goes wide and out. Right arm goes out and up. Big one, right? Right leg back, right arm forward. This is my neutral. Right? Left knee out, left arm up and open. You can pause too, right? You're feeling out your twist. Back to your chest, left arm forward. Right knee goes wide, right arm goes out and open. We've done this before. It's a dynamic type of stretching where we're moving in and out of space as opposed to holding, okay? Right arm forward, neutral. Left knee out, left arm goes up and open. Last few.
You know, it's the reclining spinal twist you're used to doing, but usually we'll lay on the back, we'll say bring the right knee in, and then just take your right knee over to the left. And this is a bigger movement style of that same position, and it is side to side. So don't take it lightly. It's one of the biggest ways we can kind of stretch and move our body. But you just really, created a lot of heat and tightness through the body. You're ready to start this type of movement, but maybe lightly. Okay, so you're not necessarily stretching as deep as possible yet. But opening up those big asymmetries in the hips, as you bring your knee wide, it's kind of like a half moon. And as you twist into it, it's more like a revolved half moon. So you're getting the open hip and the transverse. It's a good movement to remember, okay? Now listen, guys, we're gonna come back to center. So we came from big front body plank to big rotational asymmetries. We're gonna slowly come up to either Sphinx or Cobra. So now a little bit more of a meditative hold. Pressing your pubic bone down, lifting your chest forward and up. If you feel good, hands near your lower ribs, lift your chest. Couple more breaths, just kind of holding. You're welcome to go up and down if you'd like, or even go to up dog if you're ready.
Leia my dog just jammed her toy into my eye. She gets a lot of energy after her breakfast. Okay, so that's that first big extension position where the front body really lengthens and the back body shortens. So in plank, I had you rounding. Now you're going for basically an arching of the body. Okay, big inhale, guys. Lower down, maybe a quick child pose. And then we'll come up to tabletop and we'll meet back in down dog. So this was kind of our first active position. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to start breathing and moving the full body. So we're going to go through Sun Salutation B with some options. I'll lead you through 2 to 3 times, and then I'm going to let you kind of go on your own. If you're ready to go on your own from the start, I would prefer that. But slow yourself down. Make it meditative, self-aware. Down dog. Let's take a nice big inhale. Big exhale. Here we go. On your inhale, let's bend our knees, look to the front of our mat. Slowly walk. If you're ready, you can hop your feet forward. Let's start breathing and moving, yogis. Nice inhale. I bring my hands on my shins. I'm going to half lift, weight to my toes, get some tension. Exhale, forward fold. I'm not going to hold yet. We'll hold later. Chair pose. We're going to bend those knees, reach the arms up. Exhale, stand, squeeze the butt, lift the chest. Hands come to heart center or down by side. Let's go. Chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Hands plank, feet at the back of your mat. High plank. Extra push-ups are always welcome. Eventually, nice inhale into your back bend. And exhale into your downward dog. Inhale, right leg goes up and open. Remember that you're taking this at your own pace. This is stuff you know. You can move faster if you're feeling good. But don't move fast because you just want to get through it, all right? Inhale, right leg goes high. Lift your left heel. Let's shift forward to plank. Step the right foot forward inside the thumb. Let's seal our back heel. Rise. First big lunge here, yogis. Back toes angle forward. Right hip back, ribs in, arms reach up. It's the same idea as I showed you in table. As my left leg is back, it wants to arch my back more. Same thing as being here. You know, the leg always wants to pull the pelvis with it, whether it's anterior tilt, lateral tilt. That's a good thing to remember, yogis, and to start really being able to see how limbs pull the spine and the pelvis. Good, big inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, right leg back, Vinyasa Chaturanga, a high plank to low plank. Back bend on your inhale. We want to think full body, breathing and moving, downward dog. Second side, left leg rises, open up the hip, please. Take 2 to 3 breaths to feel it out. No rush, big inhale. Left leg goes high. Somebody's doing extra core crunches, awesome. Left knee, forehead, step left foot inside left thumb. So it's not between the hands, it's kind of on the left side slightly. Seal your back heel. Remember, your back toes are angled forward. Rise up, find your high lunge. Somebody's doing high lunge, that's cool. Okay, so remember, the back toes are more angled forward than they are to the side. If my back foot isn't turned out, like that, like a warrior 2 more, it's more angled forward, okay? So my right hip wants to pull forward, my left hip goes back. So now, I mentioned the left leg is gonna want to anterior tilt you, the right leg, excuse me. The left leg going forward wants to do this kind of pivoting of the hip, so the left hip goes back, okay?
Okay, big inhale, guys. Take it down, hands plant, exhale, left foot back, push-ups, chaturangas. I've demonstrated handstand hops, I've demonstrated chin balance work in the past. Apply stuff from previous practices as we go forward, depending on how you're feeling. I won't go over everything every day, but you're building the tools to, make it more personal as we go. Downward dog. Now we're gonna breathe and move. It's gonna be a little bit faster, but try to maintain self-awareness and quality. Big inhale, bend knees, look forward. Work on that hopper floater, dance, step forward. Inhale as your half lift. Straight legs, straight spine. Exhale, forward fold. Round a little bit more, soften the knees. Inhale, chair. Exhale, stand. Remember, this is kind of like a squeeze of your butt, a lift to the chest, almost like a cobra. Chair, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. High plank to low plank, chaturanga. Inhale, urdhva, upward facing. Exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing. Your pace, inhale, right leg high, lift the pulse the leg up. Exhale, right knee, forehead, step it inside the right hand. Big inhale, it's like one moment in your best warrior, pressing the outer edge of the feet down, pulling that right hip back, pulling the ribs in, reaching up, grounding down. Exhale, vinyasa chaturanga, a movement to low plank, that means. A practice of controlling the body through ranges of motion, okay? Taking your back bend on your inhale. Try not to rush cobra too fast. Feel it, slow it down. Downward dog, inhale, left leg goes high. Nice, pulse that leg up, as always, awesome. Left knee, forehead, step the foot forward. Take your time, rise it up. Find your warrior one, a strong moment of mind and body, focused. And then take it back down. Exhale, hands plant. So we're not really holding poses anymore. We are more movement practice. We will come back to holding poses after this. So work movement, please. All right. And if you're not feeling up to it today, that's okay. You can do like a pigeon stretch. I'd like to suggest down dog, please. If you're too good, if it's just not feeling good this morning, you're not up to it, no worries. You can come here, take a pigeon. Minute and a half each side, right? On your next inhale, down dog, bend your knees, look forward, hop or float. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rock, chair pose. Exhale, stand, hands at the heart. Squeeze the butt, lift the chest. Chair, inhale. If you know it, go on your own. Exhale, forward fold. It's called Uttanasana, kind of reaching for your toes. Inhale, now we half lift. Weight into your toes. High plank to low plank, take it back and through. We're only gonna go, I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes at this point, 2 to 3 minutes max. I'd like you to do some sun salutation, basically flowing yoga, working on moving your body with more skill, connecting the breath more to the movements. And as the yogis would call it, a dynamic meditation. And as modern science would call it, dynamic movement and stretching. There's strength, self-awareness. Have some fun. Like if you had music, you could turn it up here. I missed that from yoga classes. Music can give you a lot of energy and enthusiasm. If you have a little handstand, it's a first opportunity to really start doing that. You could turn to your wall and hop up. If you need a child pose, you do that. If you're doing a pigeon, maybe you start thinking about switching sides. So a little bit of a free practice, yogis. Another 2 minutes, have some fun, get into it. You go through these phases with sun salutation. You're doing them in yoga, they're difficult, then you do them so much, you get kind of repetitive or boring. But then if you keep looking deeper, the detail of your movements keeps evolving and it becomes more of this dance and this art. And like I said, you could add more spinal rolling. So knees, chest, chin. We've gone through spinal rolling instruction.
You add like less stiff approach, plank, low plank, up dog, down dog, these kind of linear movements. And then you can add things like I mentioned, chin balance. You can add scissor switch. So as I hop forward, when I lift the leg, I could work this kind of scissor switch. So if you inhale your right leg, which would be your first side, you could hop to that lunge. So instead of just going right leg rise, right leg forward, it's right leg rise, bend left knee, hop, switch, flow through. You know, and it gets a little bit more exciting because then you can go here, you can even hop, right, and then right to your left leg. You know, you can make this more creative. It doesn't have to be like exactly how certain yoga teachers will instruct it. You get good at the basic form, but then you start making it more fun and more challenging to you. It doesn't have to be perfect. Left leg lift, step it forward. There are times for that disciplined approach, don't get me wrong, all right? But you gotta make your practice in a way where you're gonna enjoy it, guys. That's key, or else you're not gonna wanna do it. You know, there's a lot of times where I'll do Sun B. I'll never even do a Cobra. I will literally, it's like one-legged handstand scorpion, warrior one. Second leg handstand scorpion, warrior on the second side. So the scorpion becomes my back bend or the hollow back. And then it's like double leg scorpion or hollow back into chair. So I never really visit, you know, even chaturanga. I never go low plank. Granted, that's a little bit more like an advanced approach, but it keeps evolving. The story of Sun Salutation was it was an offering, a prayer, a gift, a performance. And Hanuman, who was saluting, respecting his guru, the sun, you know, did every yoga pose known to man, okay? But the main thing was the pranam. It was going up and it was going down, okay, many forms. So listen, guys, let's meet back in downward dog. Looks like most of you look done there. So let's keep it moving. We only got an hour class and we're already almost about halfway. So I want to get more to our asymmetries, our balances, our little bit more challenging holds. So we're going to meet back in down dog. No rush. Widen your feet about mat's width distance. Walk your hands a little bit close together on your mat. You might want to shorten your stance a little bit, right? Lift your hips up and back. Walk your right hand towards your outer left heel. So this is a twisting down dog. Right hand eventually grabs the outer edge of your left shin, outer edge of your left ankle, heel. Yeah, and your heels can lift. You know, that's easy. Your knees can bend. Eventually, your legs will be a little bit more straight. Notice if your hips flop to the left or right. Pull them back a little bit more center. Try to relax the back of your neck. Let the head hang. Now, really challenging version, shift weight left hand, left foot, right foot starts to get light, right leg goes back and up. Now we're getting crazy, where it's a puzzle for the body to figure out. You know, how can I do this with my body? What do I have to activate? What do I have to relax? Where do I have to bring weight? It's all the asana is, you know, centering better, finding the midline a little bit better. So the right leg is up here in the full position. Okay, and then you bring the right foot down, back on the side of your mat. So your feet are a little wider now, okay? And the right hand goes back to a little bit more narrow grip in the down dog. So feet wide, wider, hands closer together, okay? Left hand towards outer right. I'm not gonna make you hold this too long, good 30, 40 seconds max here. Left hand towards outer right leg. And you try to like twist underneath your right armpit. So your gaze might go, you know, to the right a little bit here. But again, you're trying to soften your neck a little bit. Yep, and then, you know, eventually left leg starts to get light if you want to go big, okay? It's a good position to have blocks, you know, hands on blocks and down dog is always a way to make this a little bit easier on the body. Last night we did chair yoga. It was a really awesome class. So much variety to do this stuff. Doing our down dogs and our up dogs with a chair, our chaturangas. Really nice way to create more spinal length and have a different feel for these postures you're always doing. So it's a great class, the chair. It's going to go up on the YouTube soon. I'll send out a link. Go slow, guys. Back to down dog.
Okay, feet about hips width distance, hands about shoulder width distance is a good kind of general rule. On your next inhale, while you bend your knees, look forward. We're going to hop our step. We're going to bring our feet to the front of our mat. Inhale, we're going to half lift. Just kind of, I call it like a sacrum reset. Exhale, release. We're going to make our way to standing position for Tadasana. Take your time. Arms are going to go up. Remember, reaching our arms up is really fantastic for lat resistance. Left knee lifts. Hold. Take a couple breaths. Lift the left knee higher. High as you can. Like some of these I've talked about an exercise I like to do often. Remember that your hip flexors have a lot more strength potential than your abs, okay? I like to hook my foot under a kettlebell and I'll lift it up as high as possible. People ask how I can lift my knees so high. It's because I use weight. So I'll 3 days ago, hook my foot under a 25-pound kettlebell and I lift it up and I hold. And then I go down, lift it up and I can hold. Anytime you add weight, it's going to make no weight easier, okay? Now go slow. Hands swing behind your back. Options, intertwine your fingers, roll your shoulders back, okay? Palms, everything strong and reaching back. More challenging options, just your fingertips touch. So you're not holding. You're actively keeping your hands together here. Now bend your standing knee. Shoot your left leg back, finding our first warrior 3 here. First big balance. So I'm either here, drop my left hip down, same principle as being in the table with the leg up and back, or the warrior. My left leg up and back wants to drop into the arch of my back, pull the ribs in. It also wants to lift my left hip up in space, drop it down a little bit. You can take it to standing split or handstand if you want it. That's always an option when I say warrior 3. How slow can you go? Bend standing knee, land left foot at back of mat, warrior 2, windmill open. Different plane of movement. We go rotational and more of this kind of coronal movement. Now bend the straight in the front knee, back toes angle forward. Find that warrior 2. You know, side angle is a fantastic pose. I tend to teach it a lot less than triangle. If we're in a lateral moving posture, you're always welcome to do side angle and triangle are very, very similar. I choose triangle more because we get bigger lateral tilt. You're going to get the straight leg gracilis release, okay? So we're about to go into that, and it's just a reminder, okay? You can do side angle or triangle. They're kind of interchangeable a little bit, depending on what your body needs, okay? Now go slow. Nice big reverse. Now coming into our big side stretching. Right arm goes up and over. Left arm might go around the back. As you can see, we're bringing it back to some basics, yogis. All right. And then triangle position. Arms back to the T, slow flow, pausing, but keep moving through some sequence. Left foot steps a little forward. For a lot of us, eventually you do super long triangle. It's called extended, full version. It's a very long stance, basically warrior 2 legs. I drop my right hip down, I reach forward, and then I hinge. Right hand might find my block, lengthen my bottom right side body, engage my legs, twist that chest to the sky. Couple breaths here. Don't forget you can add more advanced versions if you know them. Left arm can go back around the back here. You can start to hover your right hand, engaging your legs more. I pretty much always now work engaging more. You know, I pretty much always will hover my right hand in triangles, in side angles, and in moon postures. I don't really put the hand down anymore. I want to train my legs to be strong in any bent over form. Okay, if I get lazy in my legs, it's going to be lazy in my core. Last part here, yogis. Bend right knee, look down, walk right hand forward. Now we're in the half moon. Okay, so that's the traditional kind of work. Left leg lifts, right hand is more forward in space. Like I said, I like to hover my bottom hand. That takes a lot of practice, okay? You can even reach it forward. This is full version. Extended half moon, both arms beyond the ears straight. You could also reach a top hand back to the top foot for a big Chaphasana bow. We're about 35 minutes in. So if we're gonna start taking bigger postures, now might be a time to start. There's also double bow here, double Chaphasana. There's also even like a handstand work. There's swinging the leg in front of me as opposed to back. Just some reminders for you, okay? Now I want you to take it slow. We're all in half moon. I'm a reminder. Bend standing knee. Pull top knee in the chest. See if you can stand up. Remember where it all started? Left knee up, arms up. Left foot down, arms down. I want to work in the standing back bend. It's about as classic Hatha Yoga as it gets in the back bending form. I bring my hands on my hips. I don't want to see this, guys. I lift my chest. Hips go forward. So standing back bend, more advanced versions. Arms stay up. Wait until the heels a little bit more. If I could show you a quick demo, last night from stand and chair yoga, we do it like this. It's an unreal way to start back bending and a little bit like healthier, safer approach. So this one is one of them. And then another one we did last night was this. It's really awesome cobra work. Back up, inhale. Yogi squat, slowly exhale. Kakasana crow if you want to work it. If you want to do another arm balance, that's fine. Hands plant, elbows in. Shift forward into your fingers. Spread your back. That's fly. Big toes touch, heels pull up. Arms work on straightening. So again, that represents, in a way, what a vinyasa would do. So instead of me always bringing you back to dog, I give you a moment to really hit your arms. So it's standing back bend, standing forward bend, okay? And crow is the same as yogi squat practically, okay? I'm gonna keep going. Bend knees, lift hips, forward fold, rise up. Squeeze butt, lift chest. Second side, arms up. Right knee lifts. You guys see sometimes, this is one of the traditional ways I teach Hatha Yoga, all right? Now go really slow. I want you to lift that left knee high, okay? Lift it up. I didn't say straighten, but that's always an option, whether it's bent knee or straight knee, right? I tend to, on the average, a little bit more, keep my knee bent here, getting that hip flexor really working, okay? Now go slow. Hands come behind the back, opposite pinky and back. If you're binding, I want to see those palms squeeze together. If you're binding, straighten those arms, roll the shoulders. That's going to be more of like an assisted closed chain range, whereas just fingertips together, a lot more active. Okay, same cues though. Shoulders roll back, arms straighten, arms pull back. Bend standing knee, slowly shoot top leg back. Now top leg goes into extension, straight leg. All right, it is an opposite form. Your chest comes down. Warrior 3 work. I saw one or two of you just take it to a handstand hop or a standing splits. Nice personalizing. Try to drop the top hip down. Nice, Brian. You know, if you want to do handstand one day, I like to say this idea, like it doesn't happen on the side. Handstand is not a side dish of the yoga practice, it's an entree. You know, you gotta like save room for it and practice it a lot, guys. How slow can you go? Bend standing knee, land right foot at the back of mat. Windmill, warrior 2. Ideally, you're probably gonna walk that foot back more. This is the longest stride usually we take in yoga, unless we're doing maybe a straddle or a split, okay? Back toes do angle a little forward, yogis. I want to push the big toe down. So some classes I'll say press the big toe down. Some classes I'll say press the outer edge of the feet down, but ideally it's kind of a balance of both. Now notice if you overcramp your toes, you should almost be able to lift your toes a little bit too. You know, a lot of times I walk around, people's toes are so crunched, they're like turning white. You know, it is active in the toes, but it's also not over
like just straining the foot. Okay, nice equal distribution of the weight. Now bend that front knee, straighten the back knee, lengthen your side bodies and your waist, but relax your shoulder trap area a little bit. Gaze over the front arm. Take another 2 to 3 breaths here.
And then we take our reverse. It is a lot on the legs right now, yogis, okay? Reach a little forward if you'd like. Really big side stretch for our left side body, whereas triangle is going to be a little bit more of a big stretch for the right side body. This one's an upright, a big lateral flexion stretch. The next one's a little bit more of like a lateral tilt, more of that kind of adduction stretch. Okay, so even though they're both really in the side body, they're quite different. Triangle versus reverse warrior two. That's why I really like them together. Okay, now go really slow. Arms to the T, straighten your front leg. Next position, setting up, maybe your feet a little closer together. Engage your legs, drop your front left hip down, reach forward, hinge. So in triangle, there's not nearly as much lateral flexion like I just said, which means your spine is not really side bending. It's the tilt creating the stretch more. Okay, top arm can go high. I want to lengthen my left side body, pull my ribs in if I'm arching my back. The bottom hip is the left hip. You want to push that forward in space. So what can happen if I may give you one last quick demo? Sometimes people are out here. You see how I'm like kind of hunching forward? Watch the front up, the upper body. My bottom hip I mentioned goes forward. My upper body kind of leans back. You see how more I'm aligned now from this angle here? I'm not here. Here more. Okay, and a lot of engaging in the legs is key. Don't forget to add more strengthening variations if you're feeling good. We're working towards less weight into the hands here, the left hand. That allows our back and core to get lazy. We don't want that. In bent over forms, yogis, it's your core and legs that support your lower back, let's say. If you get lazy in those hands, guys, that tension might go right into your lower back arch. You're disengaging muscles. Not good. If we're doing the Hatha Yoga poses here, it's good to remember that it's active. Now, last posture of the sequence, really. I bend my standing knee. I walk bottom hand forward. Notice I'm not here with my hands. So as I shift forward, I don't want my hand close to my foot. I want that hand way out to get a lot of length through my left side body. And I'm going to lift that leg. I know a lot of teachers say as high as parallel to your mat. I don't like that cue. I want the leg high as possible. You know, the goal is an action of abduction. It's glute medius. It's kind of like you're doing band work and you're widening your feet. You don't just step a tiny bit. You widen those feet to get that muscle really firing. I want that leg lifted, yogis. Some of us can hover the hands. Some of us can bind right hand and right foot behind us. Some of us I saw even doing some advanced stuff with the heel lift. that's awesome. That's remember that from other classes. Eventually you lift your left heel a little bit. So they call it like a toe balance. We start to shift the weight into more refined positions in the foot. So it isn't actually equal distributed anymore. It's kind of like balance. We work on not falling and then we challenge the balance more. Okay. Nice, yogis. Half moon, such a great posture, full body. You can see this is all our lateral stuff. We're going to be pretty much done with the lateral body after this. We'll go through our twisting, we'll hit our core, front and back, and then you're done with active practice. You can always see that kind of sequence. Bend the standing knee, pull top knee in the chest. See if you can slowly press through your standing foot. Remember where it all started. Standing up, right knee into chest. You can straighten the leg if you'd like. Right foot down, feet wide, hands swing around. Fingers face up, lift the chest. When I started yoga, Hatha Kriya, we did standing back bends every class. We never did, I told you, we never did one up dog. I'm not exaggerating. We never did one up dog, right? We did a lot of camels and virasanas and gentle cobras. Okay, so the big back bends on the chest have become big in the Ashtanga form, okay? Let's come back up, get really low. It is big back bend, a big forward bend. Take it slow, guys.
Let's get one more crow in here, if you'd like. Some other nice options are a twisting crow. Granted, we haven't done that many twists yet, couple. But if you're ready, you can go side crow. Lift my knees forward, heels lift, twist to a side, and bend the elbows and fly. Remember, when we think injuries in yoga, it isn't twisting usually. All right, especially these bent over, rounded forms where the weight of your leg is now stressed in a rounded, twisted spine. I don't teach, that much because of this. My classes are already very likely to injure people. So when you think injury in weightlifting, it's just forward and back. It's like squatting or Romanian deadlifting. But in yoga and in life, actually, it's twisting and side bending usually that injuries occur, okay? It's good to get really warmed up. I don't teach a practice that's designed to prevent injury. That's not what I teach. I want to teach you guys, your body, to go in the spaces where you're likely to get injured, but build a lot of awareness and condition the body for that, okay? When you're done there, I'm going to keep going for time's sake. Last standing flow. Lift your hips. Bend your knees. Left foot to the back of your mat. Final standing flow, yogis. All right? This is called low lunge or runner's lunge. Right arm out and up. You feel good? Fingertips of left hand. You feel great? Hover your left hand. So now you can see, like I said, I always hover my hands pretty much. You're kind of working toward that, all right? Anytime my hands are on the floor there, my core can be lazy. Now get strong in those legs, rise up. I love this twisting lunge. Notice my back knee is bent, my right knee is forward, my right arm is back. I'm looking at my back hand. You can work on straightening your leg, but look how my back arches more. Bend the knee a little bit, pull the ribs in. If you'd like, a little bit more range, left arm goes high, right hand finds the back of my left leg. I always talk about, the idea of extension and posterior, hip extension and posterior tilt. You develop that, man. It makes you really strong and more protected in practice. No dumping in lower back. Go slow, straighten your front leg. Arms back to the T, seal your back heel, so we're here, okay? Revolve triangle, high rotational entrance, a little bit more intermediate entrance. You can bend your knee if you need a little bit. Reach forward, hinge. Hinging in rotation, consider intermediate for sure, okay? Right arm out and up, revolve triangle. Just 3 to 4 breaths. So this isn't we're not gonna do a side plank. So think arms really strong like that right now. You did it in half moon. We did it in Warrior 2. So we're not gonna do weight bearing there, okay? Now, this is the rotational entrance to the moon. Bend right knee, pivot on ball back foot, left hand forward, a little spring into left hand, right foot. Rotational sequencing, like I said, is a more advanced approach. I keep you rotated the whole time, through forward bends, through rotational back bends, through straight leg, through bent leg. Now balance, kind of the icing on the cake. If you want to do Revolve Chapasana, if you want to do standing splits one more time. Classic yoga right now, guys. You know these poses. Now, how slow can you go? Big inhale. Right hand down, left foot down. Take a quick chair pose to neutralize. Just something symmetrical through my back and my core. If you want a little extra challenge, lift your heels. I do want your knees forward. I know that America is the land of knees over toes, but not arms, knees go in front of toes. That rule of knees over toes is therapeutics, and that's been pushed through all physical conditioning. Your knees are designed to go in front of your toes. If you play any sport, if you run at all, your knees go way in front of your toes. And then you never do it in conditioning rehab and supporting, and then that's why your knees always irritate you.
I go crazy with my knees and forward of my toes, right? Not saying that everyone should do that always. Stand up, yogis, big inhale, heels down. Like I literally will take 100 pounds and I squat like this. As far as my knee can go forward, okay? Just to break down some barriers we're building and how we should or should not move our body. Forward bend, yogis. Bend knees, right foot to the back of our mat. Left arm out and up. Final standing flow, the twisting flow today. If you're feeling good, reach your left arm so high you start to get right in your right hand. You come to the fingertips of your right hand. Staying there is excellent. Fingertip approach, it's going to isolate, make your hands stronger, your wrists and your forearms more isolated, strong. Doing flat hand down is not engaging your fingers enough often, but it will make your hands sore, okay? Hover your hand if you're feeling really good. It's that same pose, but now completely in strength and tension, okay? Now, this is the low lunge twist. I want to keep the twist, go to high lunge twist really slow. So your spine becomes more vertical now. You should probably have to bend your back knee a little. Try to relax my traps. My left arm is back. So if my left leg is forward, my left arm is back. That's how you know. It's not warrior two. It's kind of the opposite. So my hips are symmetrically facing forward. Now, if you want to try the full range, remember this is part of our coil stretching, so it's a really, really big one. My left hand kind of finds the back of my right leg here, and my right arm goes up and forward. So it's like a rotational, back bendy thing. It's a big one. Nice, looks good, yogis. That's one of the biggest stretches we'll do in class right there. It's very active, so you have to support your body and engagement as you stretch. Now listen, arms back to the T. Straighten your front leg more. You might have to step your back foot in a little bit, but I don't want it too close, okay? I have to try to seal my back heel. Just this, that high revolve triangle is tough. Just staying here is tough because you were just more here. It's a little easier on that twist. Left hip back, reach forward, hinge. Now you can, I suggest a lot of us bend the knee, going down the way you came up, more advanced is straight leg. Eventually, right hand might find your block or the floor for a revolve triangle. Just to be clear, in Hatha Yoga, revolve triangle is a substitute for pigeon. It's basically the same. Your legs are crossed like this, okay? You notice it's kind of a similar stretch. Big upper outer hip, IT band, hamstring. You take about 3 to 5 breaths there, 20, 45 seconds. You bend standing knee, stay in revolve. Right hand forward, right leg lifts. Revolve moon. Remember that, the Hatha Yoga today is a little bit more of a strengthening approach. There is stretching though. We don't need to always stretch. Remember that the idea of the proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation is basically now becoming very recommended for most people. Strengthening muscles to help others release. And rather than just stretching and making everything weaker, we're looking for like imbalances in our musculoskeletal body. All right. And we're strengthening certain actions to encourage other overworked actions to release or balance better. Okay, listen, top hand down, top foot down, yoga squat. Let's go right to it. Sit on your butt, yogis. So listen, we don't have much time left. If you want to do a couple stretches instead of what we're about to do, that's fine. A lot of exercise routines, I don't stretch. Some days I only stretch. Some days I go straight into dynamic movements, right into strength. All right, just depends on how I feel. You don't have to stretch and strengthen every day. Some days it's a strength approach, some days it's a stretch approach, okay? Bow pose if you want. You're more than welcome to do this. I'm thinking like a symmetrical reset. You're more than welcome to just stay here. A little bit of this. You know, just a quick kind of really front body. Things like plank, they're not going to really hit your rectus abdominis well. You got to kind of come into a posterior tilt, a spinal flexion. The leg lever swing puts a lot of tension through the front. So the hollow body here on the back, I talk about it a lot. You hear a lot of teachers saying don't do that, but the cores probably really aren't that strong then, okay? Hollow body, if you want to get that abs, double hollow body, really. Pelvic lift and shoulder lift. Okay? We'll meet on the back when you're done with your little ab approach there, and we'll do our final little bridge. If you're done, restorative bridge. If you're feeling good, you could do a bridge or wheel. Arms down, feet down. Don't forget a block between the thighs. Always a good thing to do, especially if you hate it. Arms down, feet down. Let's lift no hips. Important to remember here, yogis. I want to make sure I'm not arching my back. Posterior tilt. That's where posterior tilt and extension really play a role. Because just extension of the hips is only a little piece of that puzzle there. Posterior tilt is like the lower glute action. So say you're always doing bridge and anterior tilt, it's like you get this tension like up here on the crest of the upper glute and along down as it drags down the sacrum. But if I can balance it better by posterior tilt, you're gonna get the lower butt where the thigh meets the butt. I call that the thut, where the thigh meets your butt. So if you train your hamstrings really well and posterior tilt and extension, it's like aesthetic, right? So your butt won't be like this flat line to your leg. You'll get that like curl under where your butt actually looks like a butt. It's not like a flat thing line. Your butt will curl under more. if you want to worry about that type of thing, all right? Hey man, aesthetics are fine. You want to make your body look better? That's a good reason to do yoga too, right? You want to take care of your body. All right, guys, we're here in the end. You do one more bridge. Some of you are going strong with your wheel. I'd love to see that. You're feeling good. You always throw that wheel in. I'm going to start to unwind. If you have one more big back bend you want to do, don't hold back. You don't need to stretch every day, okay? Little hip stretch if you want. We can do a little figure four. If you want to do full pigeon here on your back, it looks like this. I'm just same position in my right leg. I'm just grabbing my right leg, not my left. Right, we don't really need to stretch our hamstrings anymore because we did triangle, we did half moon, which is reciprocal inhibition, we did warrior three, which is reciprocal inhibition, and active stretching. So there is a lot of stretching snuck in. It's just not like passive stretching like most people would think of stretching. All right. If you want to take this into, I'm giving you some suggestions here, guys. So we're here. You could take the medial rotated stretch where we go here, or we did a lot of twisting. You don't necessarily need this. You could take it here. We already basically did this stretch anyway in the beginning. And revolve moon. Remember the idea that beginner yoga is going to class. I don't care if you're doing one arm handstand. You're being told what to do, all right? And you're following. Intermediate yoga is self-applied, intuitive practice. What does my body need today, right now? I do that. You learn all the tools, what stretches do what, strengthen or stretch and release, and you apply accordingly based on the messages and demand of the body. And then the yogis, Krishnamacharya, the teacher of Iyengar, he said, advanced yoga is just teaching it. Learning to see what people need and teach them that process of all the poses, when it's needed, and how to apply it. That's advanced yoga. You know, it doesn't matter what is happening. If you're in class, it's kind of considered beginner in some realms of yoga. So I try to give you a lot of time throughout practice to develop intermediate practice, self-applied and intuitive approach. Okay, do your last hip stretch here, yogis. Some of you are completely on your own, doing your own thing. I like to see that.
You come to class, you're open to the instructor, you're doing some stuff you don't like, but then you're doing some stuff that feels good too. So I want to give you one more minute to finish up last things. Ideally, it's like softer neutralizers, tension releasing. In the end, maybe one or two. People always ask me, do you stretch for warm up for peak days? Like if I'm going for a really strong workout day, do I stretch before? It's context, you know, some days I do, some days I don't at all. I don't need it. My body feels open and I can go right into weight bearing range training. You know, and it's person to person. I stretch a lot before strong days. It gives me energy some days to feel good. And you know, young kids, yeah, absolutely. Kids should be stretching before they sprint, but you know, an older adult, maybe not always. Same with foam rolling, right? Some days I foam roll like crazy. You know, about 5 days ago, I foam rolled for an hour and a half. That's all I did that day. And I haven't foam rolled since. So listen, guys, we do want to close with a meditation. I got about 10:01. We're going to go just about 10:05 today. If you have time, I'd like you to try to ground and center for a few moments. Very challenging practice today. You know, work right straight through. Stronger the practice, the more necessary the shavasana. Okay, the more it irritates your nerves. So I want you to get comfortable, seated or laying. You take a breath or two. In a sense, you're regrounding like the beginning. And I want you to let your bones get heavy, surrender. After a lot of intention, creating forms with active energy, now it's the opposite. Letting the body rest. Gonna take about 2 to 3 minutes here, final pose, yogis. Nice job today.